All right, so today is Wednesday, November 6th, and we're going to do a couple of different things today. But let me go over my announcements that I typically go over at the beginning of each hour. Don't forget about Friday night. If you're interested in volunteering to work the concession stand, is it not working, or am I not in it? If you're willing to work the concession stand, it is on this Friday, and you need to be there by 5 p.m. I do have a list of individuals who, if you owe money for whatever reason, maybe you didn't work last baseball season or something along those lines, or something, maybe you didn't get a chance to work your current one, it'll help reduce that fee. So every time you work extra above your one that you were required, it's $50 extra towards your late fees for senior status. So anyways, make sure you take care of that. I've got 2 people. I've got Emily and Logan so far, but I would like some more. Your ACT, that is on December 14th, but you need to sign up by this Friday if you're planning on doing that here at Prairie View. So this would be like the last time you can get it in as a senior if you're planning to do that. Make sure that you get that stuff filled out in time. And then don't forget about your college visit and your job shadow. So those are those basics there. We're going to go over our learning intention again, just kind of review that. We're going to review some of the success criteria where you should be right now, things that you need to keep in mind. And then we're also going to go over how to talk to people today, because some of you have asked me about the awkwardness of asking someone to be a reference. We're going to go over kind of what to say or what to type or whatever, so that way you know. And then we're going to jump into introducing the interview by playing a little grab bag activity that will help to introduce the do's and don'ts of interviewing. So that's what we're going to do today. Our learning intention, as it has been, is that students will prepare professional documents for interviews and employment options. Right now we're pretty well done with the actual documents themselves. I still need to edit your reference list that you turned in and get those back to you, and my goal is to do that by tomorrow. So I should have those back to you. But anyways, as far as the employment documents go, we're pretty well done with that, and now we're jumping into the actual interview itself and some skills that you need to know. So the success criteria, although those are listed there, here are some other ones. So if you want to know if you're caught up in everything that you need to do in here, here are the ways to know. So number 1, the student has submitted a rough draft of resume, and it was returned by Mrs. Richardson, and it was corrected based on her edits. So if you've done that, kind of in your head, do a mental check. It's done. Okay. Number 2, student has submitted a rough draft of the cover letter. It was returned by Mrs. Richardson, and it was corrected based on her edits. Again, if you've done that, kind of a mental check, done. And I should have given those back to you and all those things. Number 3, the student has submitted a rough draft of the reference list. So if you did that yesterday, again, another mental check mark, yes. Number 4, student has created a Google Drive labeled Live Binder and added the 3 above documents. So 1, 2, 3. If you've done that, again, a little mental check mark, yes. And then number 5, the student has spoken with at least 3 references, which I need to figure out the better way to spell references there because I spelled it wrong. And then, I think I was just trying to write quickly, and has letters coming in. So that's kind of like the step I think most people are on. But if you've done the other things, then that's your homework, number 5. If you haven't done one of these other things, then that's your homework. So kind of keep that in mind. I'm not assigning homework, but this is what I expect to get done. And if any of this is not done, then that's your homework. Make sense? So kind of keep that in mind. So as far as talking with people, actually real quick, does anybody need to get a screenshot or a picture of this board so they know where they should be in this class right now?
Number 5, that's due in like December though, right? To get the 3 reference letters?
No. You need to have the 3 reference letters by the career day, November 22nd.
Okay. And then we can just use those for...
Yeah, then they can just stay on there. In fact, we're going to put all this on there. So yes, most of what you're going on your live binder stuff is being done in this class. Not really during Mentor Monday. Okay? So as far as talking to people, I've gotten asked a lot of questions about this. I've had people say, isn't it weird to ask somebody to write a reference letter for you? And I said, no. In fact, people in real world do this all the time. It's just called part of life. So some of you are so used to texting or so used to talking on your phones, using your devices, that you forget how to talk to people face to face. So that's kind of what this is. So if you're one of those people that this whole process of getting the reference letters or getting your references agreeing to be your reference is scary for you, I would take a picture of this page as we talk about it, because this is going to be some really like basic, here's exactly what to say so you can get this done and accomplished. So if you were looking for a reference, if you wanted somebody to be a reference for you, you would start off with either writing an email or talking with them. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. whoever, or Mrs. whatever. Okay, whatever their name is. I'm in the process of creating a resume and cover letter for a prospective job or scholarship, so whatever your situation is. And I have valued your influence in my life and would like to use you by reference, or I should say as a reference. Let me just fix that right now. Would you serve as a positive reference for me? So I think that last line is very important, especially that you include the word positive. Because there are some people who will say, and I'm one of these people, so I'm just warning you, if you come up to me and you say, will you be a reference for me? I will always say yes. If you ask me to write a reference letter, I will always say yes. But I'm going to be honest. So if you've done well in your classes, and I've seen that, and I can tell that your work ethic is good, and I can tell that you pay attention to detail, and I can tell that you're on time, and all those qualities that employers are looking for, if I can tell that you are that, that's what I'm going to say in the letter. But if you're one of those people that sleeps through my class, or if you're one of those people that comes late every day, or if you're one of those people that chooses to put forth as minimal effort as possible on your work, I'm also going to say that. So I think simply adding the word positive there makes people respond appropriately. And if somebody came to me and said, will you be a positive reference to me, I would also be honest to them and let them know if it would be positive or not. But if they just ask me to be a reference because they're just trying to get their little check mark done, I'm gonna do it, but I'll be honest. All right? Because honestly, I don't want to be a reference for you and be lying to that future employer about what they can expect. Okay, now here's I put some dotted lines here on purpose because this kind of depends on what you're doing. So if you're sending an email to ask for this, you might want to add the line, thank you for your consideration in this request. I look forward to your reply. Two things, you're thanking them for considering you, which I think is always important to do. And then number two, you're making it very well known that you're expecting them to give you some type of a response, either yes or no. Okay, it's very clear. So you need to have those two lines. And then the follow-up. So once you hear back from them, whether it's in person or whether it's via email or however you're taking care of that, you need to say, thank you for being willing to serve as a reference for me. Could you please provide me with the following information? And then you just would list what you need from them. Because some of you have bits and pieces, but maybe you're missing this or this. All right, and you would just list simply what you still need from them in order to complete that on your sheet. Okay, does that make sense? So that's kind of the breakdown, and that's the reason for the little hash mark lines and things along those lines. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense as to how you need to go about doing that. Now, if you're needing a letter from them, because remember, if you only have 3, then every one of those 3 should be writing a letter for you. If you have more than 3, then you can pick of those ones that you have, which ones you would like to write the letter for you. You need to also put, so you could need to like make this the same, but instead of it saying as a reference, if you could write a reference letter. And then, you could even add, I could provide you with my resume to help you in writing my reference letter, and I would need to have this, you need to include that deadline no later than November 15th. That gives you a little bit of buffer room if you need it.
Do you feel like November 15th is like from today? Say, is it good?
Is it reasonable?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're needing it by November 15th, I would make sure you talk to them today. Wouldn't wait any longer.
I mean, like I don't, but I just...
For me, personally, it would be plenty of time. For me.
Yeah.
But others, I mean, and if it's not, they'll tell you. They'll just say, hey, I would love to be a reference for you. Please put me down as a reference, but I don't have time for a letter. So at least you can add them, but then they maybe just can't be your letter person.
Yeah. And then also it says the, not than. On no later than.
Have the in hand no later than. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? So does that at least make sense? And for those of you who are just not sure how to go about that, does that help a little bit?
Do we need to have them printed out and everything? Like, do they have to
So
send it and
they
stuff?
need to give it to you in some fashion. So if they want to email it to you and have it in a digital form, great. If they want to give it to you on paper, great. It doesn't matter. You just need to have 3 letters. If they give it to you on paper, though, keep a hold of it because we're going to need to get it scanned in so we can eventually send it to you digitally. So digitally is perfect because you're going to need to make it digital at some point, but if they give it to you on paper, that's not a problem.
Yeah, because we can.
And so a question that did get asked of me by another teacher that's writing one is, do I give it to you, Mrs. Richardson, or do I give it to the student? And I said, go ahead and give it to the student, because they're going to see it either way. They're going to see it before it goes to whoever it goes to. So, you know, some teachers might not like that. Some teachers might not like that you're going to get to see it. But then if that's something that they're worried about, that probably means that you shouldn't use it as a reference.
Yeah.
Okay? Because it's probably not going to be the most positive. So that should be a red flag for you and should tell you to maybe look somewhere else.
Like, what should be included in a reference letter? Because I have somebody that they're like, what should I write? Like,
They need to talk to the skills and abilities that you have that they have observed and why they think that you would be a good candidate for the job or the scholarship that you're going after.
So should we tell them what
So
we're
basically
doing?
they're saying, hey, I give my full support for this person going after whatever it is that they're going after because of this, this, and this, and this that I've seen. So like Mrs. Snyder, I know when she writes letters for people, she likes to have their resume, and she'll even say, hey, please give me your resume, because she likes to at least look through it, and it's a refresher for her on the things that you've been involved in that even involve her. Because sometimes we forget. If it's something that you did with us as a freshman, we may not remember every single little detail. And so hopefully your resume includes the things that are most important, and that's just helpful. And you guys already have those written, so it should just be really easy to make a copy and give them to them. Okay, it's no real extra work for you. You're really giving them extra work. And if I were you, and they write a reference letter for you, what should you probably do in return?
Write a thank you.
I would write a little thank you note. I'm not going to require it, but it goes a long way in the teacher's heart and whoever else you ask. So I would suggest doing that. I personally have a whole stack of thank you cards here because I know that people do things for me all the time and I want to be able to remember to thank them for them. And so I try to keep them some here at work and some at home. That way, as soon as that person does whatever, I'm like ready to write that letter and it's done. I even keep stamps and everything too, just because I want to be able to send that out. I actually got one sitting in my binder that I need to go stick in the mailbox later today. So just keep that in mind, that it might seem like a stupid small thing, but it really does mean something to the people that get it. So if they put forth some time and effort into writing you a letter, it's nice to get a thank you in return. Any other questions or comments about references and asking for those or the letters? Does this make you feel more overwhelmed or make you feel more prepared? More overwhelmed because now it's like, now I gotta do it, right? But hopefully now you know how to do it. Okay. Does anybody need to take a picture of this before I remove it? Because it probably won't be up there tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, so I asked for my letters like a lot of weeks ago, and so I kind of just thought they'll get back. Like I sent out the email. It was like nicely, like professionally typed, and I've gotten one back, but then like a lot of people haven't given me theirs like back yet. So I don't know. Should I?
I would send a follow-up letter.
I've been sending follow-up emails, and
have you heard back from them?
I've conversed with a couple because some people asked for my scholarship resume and some people didn't, so I sent them that, and like I've talked to them a little bit, but I don't know if I should send another email at some point and be like, hey, if you could get this.
I would just send out, hey, I just wanted to touch base with you again. The deadline when I really need the letters by is this deadline, whatever you want to give them. And so if you have any questions for me to help fulfilling that need, then whatever.
Do I need the recommendation letters by, or for the?
You need them by the career day. Only because I want them to be on your live binder by then, but not because you actually need to use them for the career day. Okay.
So I'll try to, if I don't get a response.
So that's why I say the 15th. That way we have got a couple days to actually upload them.
So we're not using these for the career thing?
No, because you're going to have like a whole like 10 to 15 minutes with these people. They don't have time to look through your resume, your cover letter, and all three of your reference letters and still interview you.
Plus, I don't really care.
Right. And I mean, the reference letters are nice to have, but you won't need them for everything that you do. Really, the reason we're having you do the reference letters is because here down the line, if you're applying for scholarships, especially the local ones, they really like you to have a resume, a cover letter, and reference letters. And so now you all have them. And if you just need to reformat your cover letter a little bit, then boom, you're good to go.
And our mock interviews are on the 22nd, right?
Yes.
That's in 2 weeks.
Yes, it is. I'm still starting to feel the pressure because next week you guys have to select which careers you want to go see, and I have to make your schedule, and I'm like, oh gosh, okay, I gotta get this done like this weekend. So, anyways, it's all good because we're doing that during Mentor Monday on Monday, and I'm like, it's okay, but it'll get done because I'm a procrastinator, but I always get it done, so it's fine. All right, any other questions before we move on? Okay, so you may have noticed when you walked in, I have a little do and don't table up here, and that's for a reason. I have a little grab bag here, and I'm going to come around, and we're going to probably do this maybe 3 times around, where you're going to grab out an item, and then whatever remains in the bag I'll pull out at the end. But each of these items in here represents something related to the interview, and it's either a do or it's a don't. And so when you pull out whatever item you pull out, I want you to think about maybe what it represents in the interview and whether or not you think it's a do or a don't. And then we'll talk through each item.
Should I keep it or do I
Just hang on to it, yep. Try not to put anything on these. A lot of these things belong to my children, so.
Are they just things that you talk about or don't do?
You'll see.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
There's a lot in there. There's like 20.
Did you just run around your house this morning?
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit last night, a little bit this morning, but they were all, it's actually an idea I had a long time ago, but I just had to actually do it.
Miss the days
Are those
when I wear the-
boxers?
They're just like cute looking.
Josie's a little skeptical.
I feel like I know what some of the stuff is, but
Julian, I think she's trying to tell you to use some mouthwash.
no. Why? Do iron your shirt.
Oh gosh, I don't know what I'm grabbing.
Yeah, there's some
Oh,
surprises in there.
Yeah.
You know, clowns. Oh, don't have nasty nails. That would drive me crazy. Or
Hands
dudes.
up, I'd imagine.
Hands on the ground.
Wear a belt.
We'll talk through it. All of them have like a little bit of a double meaning, so we'll talk
Or
through it.
nail polish.
Not only is it nail polish, but it's bright green nail polish. Okay, there are a couple other items in here. Let's talk through my items first, and then we'll go through your guys'. So one of the items I'm pulling out of the bag is a what?
Comb.
A comb. What do we do with a comb?
Come here.
We comb our hair, right? Very basic. There are some of you that show up to school and you literally roll right out of bed, no like care or concern for your hair, and obviously I would hope everybody would know that on an interview day or for an interview that you should at least maintain your hair. Okay, now we're not saying it needs to look spectacular, although you should try to go above and beyond, but at the very least, and I'm mostly speaking to the gentlemen because the gentlemen tend to, it's, you know, because their hair is just usually easy to maintain. You obviously have to put a little work into yours, okay? But other gentlemen, most of their hair is short and they can just like literally roll out of bed and they're good to go. But you need to put a little bit of effort into your hair that morning, okay? Keep in mind, anything that you can see is how they're going to determine what type of a worker they think you are. Messy hair means you're a messy performer. So neat and orderly hair is going to send the message that you are neat and orderly. Whether or not it's true or not is not the matter here.
Well, even like having messy hair doesn't make you look professional. Like they don't want that.
Yeah.
Like,
And you know, some, they might be working on a job site, so they might think, well, it doesn't really matter if my hair looks nice for the job site. Well, that's true. But again, what type of a message are you sending? And it's not always just about the job that you're actually going to be performing. It's about who you are as a person and what type of message are you trying to send. So is this a do or a don't? Do. What else? Let's see what else we got in here. Ooh, I like this one. What is this? This is a cell phone. It's not one that I use anymore. It's got a cracked screen. I actually dropped it getting out of my car in the parking lot one day. This is actually 2 cell phones ago, so this is like 6 years old. But anyways, so the iPhone 5 maybe?
5C.
Yep.
We had,
Okay.
yeah.
So what are we thinking about the phone here? What is this telling us?
Don't have your phone on an interview.
Don't have your phone on in an interview. In fact, I'm going to take it a step further. Leave your phone in the car. Okay? Now, I know. What are some of the arguments some of you are just like waiting to give me about leaving a phone in a car?
What if something happens?
What if something happens? What if you leave your phone at home for the day by accident? Could something still happen? Yeah. And if something happens, is your attention to it immediately always necessary? No. In fact, more often than not, it's not necessary at all. Okay? So here's the thing. How do you know it's an emergency and it's not some stupid meme from your buddy? You don't. So here's the thing. Just keep it in the car for 15 minutes. Focus on that interview. Let your focus be there. I've had people ask, well, can't I just keep it in my pocket and keep it on vibrate? You could, and the employer probably wouldn't care. But the moment it vibrates during your interview, where is your focus now gone to?
That.
Is it on the interview still, or are you wondering what's going on in your pocket? And so that's why I think it's just a good practice to make, that when you have an interview, you just leave it in the car. Okay? Nothing's going to go terribly wrong without you for 15 minutes. Leave it in the car. Then as soon as you get out, you can go check it. All right? Does everybody get that? If it's something terribly important, they'll find a way to get a hold of you. Okay? The people that are closest to you probably know where you are that day. So keep that in mind too. All right? You don't need your cell phones, I swear. Okay, is this a do or don't? Don't. Oh, here we go. Nobody got my lovely little, okay, what are these?
Dangly earrings.
Dangly earrings.
That's annoying.
Yeah, they're super annoying. They're super cute, but when I wear them, all I hear all day long,
It's like wind chimes.
I feel like a cat walking around with a bell on. Okay, so here's the thing. The rule of thumb for an interview, if you're gonna wear jewelry, ladies, is no more than 1 ring per hand. Okay, so if it's a wedding ring, then that's what you got. Take everything else off. If you don't have any other rings on and you're wanting to wear a class ring or something, whatever, 1 ring per hand. All right, as far as your wrists and like bracelets and stuff, keep it minimal. Again, no more than 1 per arm. Okay, necklaces, they need to not be distracting. So, you know, a necklace can bring an outfit together sometimes, or it can add a little bit of a dressiness to the outfit, and so they're appropriate, but it shouldn't be a distraction. So if it's too chunky, it needs to go. Okay, as far as earrings go, they say a dime size or smaller. So if it's larger than a dime, it's probably not appropriate for an interview. Not saying it doesn't make you look beautiful any other time, but as far as for an interview, it's distracting. Okay, so as far as for an interview, it's distracting. So a dime or smaller. So would this fit the dime or smaller?
Don't.
No, and it's obnoxious, and plus every time I wear them to school and forget about how annoying they are, I regret it. So, do or don't?
Don't.
All right, let's see what else is in here. A couple more little things. 3 more little things. What is this?
Makeup sponge?
It's a makeup sponge. Okay, makeup is one of those things, ladies, that makes us feel better about ourselves, but sometimes we can overdo it. So this is just a reminder that less is more. Okay, wearing a little bit of makeup is not bad, and I'm not saying not to, but don't overdo it. And think about your color scheme here. Think more neutral rather than standing out. You want to stand out in an interview, but not with your makeup. Okay. You want to stand out with your abilities, with your confidence, with your, your body language, but not your literal body. Okay? So that's what the little makeup sponges represent. What about this?
Don't chew gum.
Gum. Okay? Gum is a big fat no-no in an interview. I don't care if it's to keep your breath smelling good or whatever. It's a big fat no-no because it's like talking to a cow. Don't do that. It's like the grossest sound ever. Okay? Don't do that. And even if you don't think you're doing it, you're probably doing it. Okay? Here's what I encourage. When we get to the unit where we start practicing our interview skills and stuff like that and our questions, I encourage you to record yourself answering some questions while chewing gum and then answering some questions while not chewing gum so you can see the difference. You'd be amazed at how different it is. What about this?
Bow tie.
It's a little bow tie for a little kid. Okay, a lot of the clothing items that you're going to find in these, assume that we're talking about adult size things, but the small kitty things fit better in the back. So here's the reason for this. I'm going to later get to the point that I want you wearing, for the gentlemen especially, I want you wearing a button-down collar shirt for the interviews. Like that's kind of the baseline. Anything you do above and beyond that is great. This right here would be an above and beyond. Okay, a bow tie or a tie that is a longer tie, those would be above and beyond. So if you want to stand out among your peers, take it a step further and do that. If you want to look like just like everybody else, like you met the minimum requirements, then do that. But it sends a message. Okay, now you have to decide what message you want to send. So is this a do or don't?
Do.
Do.
Don't.
All right, what do you got, Candace?
Leggings?
Okay. So, tell us about these. What do you think?
They're extra.
Don't wear leggings to an interview.
Okay, yes. Number 1, yoga pants are not interview appropriate. Well, let me just put it there. Unless you're wearing them where a dress comes down to here and is totally covering your booty, These do not belong in an interview. And yes, I'm even talking about the black ones and the neutral colored ones. Any yoga pants really don't belong in an interview. If they're being worn as tights under something and everything else is fully covered, that's one thing. But when they're being worn as pants, they are not that in an interview. If you want to dress comfy for school, that's fine. I don't really care. But in an interview, no. And these are obviously a little flashy. I bet you can't tell which of my children likes these. But anyways, the flashy. Again, you're wanting your confidence to stand out to them, and you're wanting your skills and your abilities to stand out to them, not your pants. Okay, so there's one, and then you want to show us the other item you have, because you have another kind of flashy item there.
Don't wear booty shorts.
Any shorts in an interview are not appropriate. Okay, I know the new popular thing, ladies, are the short jumpers that look kind of like a spring dress, romper, whatever you want to call them. Those would not be appropriate for an interview. Most of them are way too short for an interview. As soon as you sit down, whoop, way up here. Okay? Now, I feel like I can say this to you all because I'm a female. All right? Don't wear your booty hanging out, shorts. All right? But no shorts for an interview at all, especially flashy ones like these. Okay, what else? What else did you get? Toothbrush. What do we think here? Okay, brush your teeth, take care of your teeth. You know, your teeth, your smile is one of the first things they're going to notice about you in an interview. Now, you can't always do something about the straightness and things like that of your teeth, but you can make sure they're clean. Okay, so here's the thing. Sometimes your interview is first thing in the morning, sometimes it's not. Plan appropriately. If you're going to be at work or at school or whatever before an interview, bring your toothbrush with you and your toothpaste with you and take care of it before going to the interview. It's a very simple, easy thing to do, but some people forget. The worst thing you could do is have coffee breath or onion breath or something like that going into an interview where you're going to be leaning in and shaking hands and saying hello to somebody, and that's what's hitting their face. Nobody likes that. Have you ever talked to somebody really closely that's a coffee drinker? I'm a coffee drinker. My husband's a coffee drinker, so sometimes I don't even like him being that close to me. It's nasty. Don't do that to somebody in an interview, because that's what they're going to remember. Oh, that was the person with the nasty coffee breath. Is that how you want to be remembered? Or whatever that you were doing. So pay attention to your breath. It's a good thing to do. If you know your interview is later in the day, plan appropriately. Do or don't?
Do.
Do's or don'ts?
No.
No. All right, what else we got?
Pants.
Got some little pants here. What about these pants?
They're nice and dressed up.
Okay, so these are elastic little pants because they're worn by my infant child, okay? But these are dress pants or pinstripes. They even have like the little cuff down here at the bottom. So these are nice pants. For your interviews, this is more so of a male, thing. I don't want jeans. I want nice pants, whether that's black or navy or khaki or whatever, nicer pants. Taking it a step up from those jeans is going to be my expectations. Now, before any of you are going, oh, well, now I got to go buy a whole new wardrobe. Maybe you do, okay? It's not a bad investment at this point in your life if you don't have one nice outfit. Because you're going to have weddings, you're going to have funerals, you're going to have things that you have to go to, and that's going to be the appropriate attire. Or you might have interviews, okay? But if money is tight, and that does not sound like something feasible, there are places you can go and get good quality clothes that will meet the requirements for very cheap. I know right now, I can walk into Concern in Mountain City and get an entire outfit, pants, shoes, shirt, and tie for $1. Each item being 25 cents. And I've done it before for students. So if money is the issue, come talk to me. We can probably work something out, or you could go yourself and take care of it there. But we found some really nice items, and honestly, when you're dressing up, it's not about the brand names. It's not about what your peers think. It's about impressing that employer. And once you get it from Concern and wash it, nobody else cares. So just something to think about with the dress pants, gentlemen especially, that will be expected. Do or don't?
Do.
What else?
Water bottle.
Water bottle.
Like the whale too.
Sure, I'll take the whale. All right, so what about the water bottle?
Don't drink water in an interview.
Most of you walked in here with some type of cup, right? A water bottle, a coffee cup, or something, right? It's pretty acceptable in our culture to bring your own drink somewhere, right? In an interview, don't. All right, you don't need to take anything into the interview with you except for your employment documents and yourself. That's it. All right, so make sure that your waters and your coffee cups and all that, they get left in the car, that you take care of them. Don't leave them in the waiting room. That sends a message that you just leave your crap everywhere. Don't do that either. Make sure you just take in what you need. Everything else stays in the car, including your water. And I just say that because I know you guys bring them to class, and that's fine for class, but in an interview, it's a no. What else?
I don't know what that is.
Is it free nails? Yeah.
It's a nail brush. Why would we have this in there?
What
Because
green?
you don't want to have dirt.
I want all of you to look at your nails for a moment.
Mine are dirty.
Okay, my children love to play in the mud, hence the reason we have like 4 of these in our house. Okay, but the biggest pet peeve of mine personally is dirty or gross hands. And in an interview, when you walk in, one of the very first things you're going to do is you're going to shake hands with somebody. And they're not going to sit there and study your hands, but as soon as they can see them when you're talking in an interview, what's going to come back is, ooh, I touched that. So what kind of message are you sending? Do you have well-groomed fingernails? Did you take the time to clean your hands off? I think of a lot of our gentlemen in our class that work on the farms or that work on their cars and things like that, the stains, the oil stains and stuff along those lines.
Those things are.
Yeah, you got to take care of that. Now, I understand when you work hard and it happens, but in an interview, it should be your effort the night before, a couple days before, to really make sure that you're taking care of that stuff. You don't need to be walking in there with grime and dirt underneath your nails and with all these little stains on your hands. Figure out a way to get it off. Go Pinterest it. Pinterest is not just for the ladies. It's for the taking care of everything around the house. So your hands and your cleanliness and things like that included. We'll get to the other things here soon, but yes, your hands are going to be a primary aspect of the interview, so keeping them clean and your nails and all that, very, very important. Do or don't?
Do.
All right, Madison, what you got back here? Okay, this flashy thing. What else you got? Nail file and a little boot. All right, so we got here nail file, kind of along the same lines. If you've got jagged hangnails, things like that, again, those are things to look for and make sure that they're manicured down. If you've got long nails, you might want to consider cutting them. Okay, I'm not saying that long nails aren't beautiful. They can be, especially if they're kept up. However, they can also scratch or something like that when you're going in for an interview. So sometimes less is more, and in this case, it might mean doing a simple filing or cutting those nails the night before to make sure that they're appropriate for the interview itself. So do or don't?
Do.
What about this thing?
Don't.
Okay, a cute vest or a cute jacket or something like that might look good for everyday attire, or it might not, but your goal is not to be a flashy individual in the interview with your attire. Your goal is to impress them, again, with your words, with your confidence, and those aspects, not with your attire. So this would be a no, because what they're going to remember is that was the gold puffy vest person. They're not going to remember your name. They're not going to remember anything else really about you. That was the gold, flashy vest person. Okay, so make sure that you stay away from that. What about this? Little work boots.
Don't wear work boots.
I have a lot of gentlemen especially come and ask me about their work boots and if they can wear those, since I will tell you here shortly that I don't allow tennis shoes for the interview. And so they'll ask me about their work boots. And I usually say, if you have something nicer, wear them. Because what do you guys typically do in these work boots?
Work.
You're working, or you're walking out in the farm in the cow pasture and you got who knows what on the bottom, and then you're also, my son even, he plays in the fire pit, so there's little like charred pieces on here, and I actually cleaned these, like I cleaned off the bottom, but they were disgusting before, just trust me. And so anyways, they look like he's been working, and that's okay, because that's what they are. They're work boots, right? They're not made for the interview. They're not expected to be used as interview boots. Even if you clean them up like I did, they still look a little rough around the edges. So work boots are not meant to be interview boots, and I encourage you to stay away from them for the interview process. I have gotten asked about like cowboy boots and things like that. If they look very nice and they go with your pants, I'm all for it. But they shouldn't be like the work boots that you're doing all the grummy stuff with. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Caking in mud into their entryway is not going to be appropriate. All right. Did I talk through all your items? Okay. Let's see yours. What do you think here? Do? All right, so the mouthwash is a great option, especially if you're in a hurry, to take care of any of that breath, I would encourage, if you're going to an interview and you don't have time to take care of the other stuff, this would be an easy one to do prior to. So there's the mouthwash, that's a do. These shoes are a little bit nicer. A lot of you guys have what we like to call boat shoes or yacht shoes, things like that. I would accept these for an interview because they're a step above the others. Now most of yours probably don't have Velcro, yours probably tie or slip on. But anyways, these kind of shoes, darker in color, are appropriate. I will say your shoes should match your belt. So if you're wearing brown shoes, you should wear a brown belt. If you're wearing black shoes, you should wear a black belt. There is certain etiquette to follow, and if you need help with that etiquette, I will explain it to you. Also, what about this?
No,
I feel like you can, but you can't do it too much.
I wouldn't.
Let's see.
I bet it smells really strong. It's gonna make me sneeze.
Now what do you think? Woo!
No,
You
do
can't
not
smell
wear
it
that.
yet.
I can't smell it.
Oh, just wait. Give it a moment. It'll sink in. Okay, so now
Oh, got it.
Can't smell it.
it's not a terrible smell, right? But how many of you have ever been out in the hallway and somebody
Those
decided to
girls.
spray that Axe spray everywhere, or they decided to spray their perfume, or you've been stuck on a bus and somebody did it, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm dying over here. It's not that the smell is bad. It's that all of a sudden now that's all I can think about. Okay? And in an interview, do you want them focused on the smell or focused on you as a person and your abilities? And if your goal is the smell, then you're there for the wrong reasons. So how many of you are getting a little bit of a headache right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're the interviewer, you've now associated that person with your headache. Is that the message you want to send?
No.
Probably not. So I don't enjoy this smell. I did this first hour. It does eventually go away. Obviously, none of you came in here and were like, oh my gosh. But do we understand why maybe this is not necessary?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying don't wear perfume. I am saying, as you mentioned, Kelsey, don't overdo it. And there are some people that you know that just as soon as they come into the room, you're like, boom, so-and-so's here. Don't be that person in an interview. Honestly, you're better off going no perfume and just being clean. Having taken a shower, wearing your basic deodorant and things along those lines, rather than worrying about this. So if you're even the least bit concerned that this could be a problem, don't wear it.
You could legit use that stuff for breeze.
What? Yeah, you can live for 15 minutes without it. Whew. All right.
My goodness.
It will go away. Maybe not before you leave here, but it will go away. All right. So let's look at these items. What do you think, Cameron? We got a belt here.
Do.
Do?
Yes.
Does it every single time?
No. Whatever.
I mean, like for girls it's a little bit different, but for guys I feel like they should wear a belt.
Okay. Here's kind of the good rule of thumb. If you have belt loops and you can see them, you need to wear a belt. Okay, that's just, I mean, there's nothing tackier in my mind, so I'm sorry if you've been one of these people. But when you tuck in a shirt and you can see your belt loops and there's no belt.
Yeah, that's annoying.
So if you can see belt loops and you have belt loops, you need to wear a belt. Okay? Ladies, I realize your attire for an interview may not involve a belt, and that's okay because your pants may not have belt loops. Okay, your pants may not have whatever, but if you have belt loops and you can see them, then you need to be wearing a belt. Also, you want to find the belt that looks the most appropriate with whatever color pant you're wearing. So, you know, navy pants, it's just one of those hard ones. There's not a lot of navy belts out there, but black or brown would be okay. But again, what did I say earlier about the
Don't
shoes?
do black if you're wearing.
You gotta do the same. So if you're gonna wear black with navy, it's fine, but you need to wear black belt and black shoes. I would prefer brown with navy personally,
Yeah.
but you know the goal is that it all matches and goes together. It's not worrisome if it's a little bit of clashing as long as you're consistent throughout. Okay, so that's the issue with the belt. What about this?
Yeah, wear that deodorant.
Yeah, that clean scent, okay? It's not about being over the top, just that clean, fresh scent. You don't want to be that person that walks in and smells of BO. Okay, so have an emergency deodorant in your car, because we all have forgotten it. Haven't you like woken up, gotten to school, and been like, oh crap, I forgot to put on deodorant today. I've got an emergency one in my little desk just in case, because it happens. But you don't want to be that person that all of a sudden you've been at work all day and forgot the deodorant, and now you've got to go into that interview, or you've been at school all day and forgot the deodorant, and now you get to go into that interview. Make sure you got that deodorant. What about jeans?
No.
Okay. For our interview purposes, I'm going to say that jeans are not appropriate. I understand that some of you may wear jeans to an interview, but for our interview purposes, jeans are not appropriate. I especially want to point out that if you ever do wear jeans in an interview, they should be dark, they should be very nice jeans, and they should not have holes. Okay? So that's kind of the policy when it comes to jeans. What time do we get out of here?
48. Oh, wait. I don't know.
49. Okay, so this one's a do, a no, and a do. All right, what else we got? Last person.
Collared shirt. Nail polish and shoes.
All right, so this is mostly to the gentleman, but in this interview process, my expectation is a long sleeve button-down collar shirt. Okay, that's the expectation with nice pants. Okay, now if you choose to go above and beyond that and wear a tie or something like that, that's fine. That's on you. And I think that's a good idea because remember, everybody else is going to be doing the minimum. So if you step it up a notch, that makes you look good. But that's the expectation for the gentleman. And if you're wearing this, it should be tucked in. Okay? Yes. It should also be not wrinkly. So if you have an iron at home, great. If you don't have an iron at home, get the wrinkle spray. But if you look all wrinkly like you just rolled out of bed, then that's the message you're sending. That you didn't care enough about this interview to get up a couple minutes earlier and make sure that your shirt was wrinkle-free. All right? It's showing that what matters to you, what's a priority to you. And if your appearance doesn't matter to you, then do other things. And that's the message that you're sending. So that's one thing.
No.
We've talked about nail care. Now we're going to talk about nail polish. Is a nail polish a yes or a no for an interview?
No.
I mean, maybe,
I mean,
but
I
not
feel
that
like if
color.
it's like a
Neutral.
neutral color.
Okay. This color, absolutely not. Neutral colors are just fine, but here's the thing I will tell you about nail polish. It's either all or nothing. So it looks like you just did it and it looks beautiful, or you take it all off. There should be no in between. Okay? Because otherwise now that's what I'm staring at instead of paying attention to you. Okay? And again, it shows you care. So it either looks great or it's gone. One of the two, and it's neutral color. So this one right here is a no. All right, what about tennis shoe?
No.
Tennis shoes are a no in an interview. Some of you in an actual interview where you're not doing it for pre-review may choose to wear like black tennis shoes if they're cleaned up and nice. But this is like the popular trend right now. No, tennis shoes are like normal colors. So tennis shoes are just across the board no. Same thing with flip-flops. Across the board no, not for an interview. All right, one last thing. Dark socks. Those of you who are wearing dark dress shoes and dark dress pants, dark dress socks. They should match. Okay, whatever color pants you're wearing, that's the color socks you should be wearing. None of that white socks business with dark pants and dark shoes. Okay, go. Have a great day.